Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is for you, and welcome back to In the Kitchen with Penn. Welcome aboard if it's your first time here. Very warm welcome to all you old subscribers, not old in age, I promise you. Right, today we've got something slightly different. Thanks to Andy's chat show. Andy is also part of the Takeaway Boys, and he challenged myself and Martine from Food from Afar to a bake-off, and he put 4 choices on his channel, and the choices were lemon crinkle cookies, mincemeat flapjack, mince pie, or Victoria sponge. Well, surprisingly Victoria sponge won. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm making a Victoria sponge. Martine is making a Victoria sponge. We're going to upload to our channel so that you can all see how we make them, and give us a thumbs up, please. Thank you very much. And then get yourself across to Andy's channel, because that is where a vote is going to take place as to who made which Victoria sandwich, Victoria sponge people preferred. Okay, so I'm going to start by running you through my ingredients. Now, I want to make the best Victoria sponge, so I am using a particular sort of flour. Now, the ingredients for it I will tell you as I go along, and it's self-raising flour, but I'm using a particular sort of self-raising flour. This is sponge flour. Okay, so I've used 8 ounces of this particular self-raising extra fine sponge flour. Okay, that's that. I've also used, excuse this is a bit messy, 8 ounces of butter. I was going to use French butter, but I drew the line, it was too expensive. 8 ounces of butter. I have also used 8 ounces of caster sugar, and they are all in my KitchenAid, along with 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So you can see it, baking powder. Here I have 4 eggs. You can't see them, but I've got 4 eggs, and again I use some nice golden yolk eggs. Okay, so far so easy. 8, and then I will use some vanilla. Now, I always say to use a vanilla extract because it is the best. Don't use an essence because it's chemical. Well, today I treated myself, not today but for this episode, I got some vanilla bean paste. I think it's Madagascan. I'm sure it will be. It generally is. Yeah. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of this to the mix. I will cook my sponges at 180 for about 20 minutes. I have 2 greased and lined sponge cases here, so we are ready to go. So what I need to do is move you, put my pen away, move you so that you can see what I'm doing, and we'll get going. Right, this method is an all-in-one method. So I cracked my eggs into a jug, well, it wasn't a jug, it was a beaker, and then put them all in here so that if there was any eggs that weren't quite good enough, they weren't going to ruin my mix. So it's going in, everything in. That's the eggs and the vanilla extract, so that's the wet ingredient that's gone in there. And then I just need to mix this all together until everything is combined. Now, you can do this by hand, by creaming the butter and sugar together, then adding your eggs, then adding your flour. You can use an electric mixer. But I thought, well, I've got my KitchenAid, let's use it. And also that way, I think you can get a better view. Now, the colour of this is because of the colour of the yolks. I can really smell the vanilla extract, so we're doing good. And we're just mixing until this comes together. I'm going to stop it and bring everything away from the sides. Oh, I do love cake mix. I mean, just to eat it as is. Right, it's all off of the sides, but I'm going to give it another mix just to make sure that everything is as it should be. That I wanted, so I'm going to switch it off and put it into the cake tins, but meanwhile I'm going to preheat the oven. Now this is entirely optional. You can actually weigh the amount you're putting in to each case to make sure that you're getting even amounts, so we'll have a little go, shall we? I'll probably get fed up halfway through and go, oh no, just shove it in. But can you see, I can, I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up. You can see the flecks of vanilla in there. So yeah, I am going to get fed up doing this. So I'm just going to measure these out and we'll be back. Now then, as always, I've tried to get most of the dough, the cake mix out of the bowl. Anything that's left is a cook's perk, and I'm just going to make sure that our tops are fairly level. My oven has preheated, it only takes a minute and a half, but having a bit longer won't hurt it. And I may have to, because these won't both fit on the same shelf, turn them round halfway through, you know, swap the shelves. But for now, these are going in to the oven, and let's show you. Right, in they go. Actually, I'm certain they don't both fit. No, I'm not really going to test it. So into the oven, and they've got, I'm going to go up to the 25 minutes, and as I've said to you, I will move them part way through cooking. But that is how easy the actual cake mix is. Right, ooh, a bit warm, sorry about that. Our time is up. So I need to test the cakes. I did move them part way through cooking, as I said I would, and they look cooked, and I'll tell you why they look cooked, because they've started to come away from the edge. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a skewer and I'm going to go in and angle, so that way I get more of the cake. And that one is cooked. Let's try the second one, and the same thing, we're going to go in at an angle, and it is cooked. Right, now these need turning out onto a cooling rack, but if I just put them on top of the cooling rack, they're going to get all the lines from the cooling rack. So what I've done is I have put a clean tea towel on top of the cooling rack, and I shall bring you down so that you can see that. There we go. There's our cream. Go on, put your teeth in, Penny. Our clean tea towel on top of our cooling rack. And now it should please note, should just be a question of turning our cakes out onto the racks. I'm hoping they haven't stuck. Right, so these gloves, I've said before, they're perfect, but they're a bit cumbersome for certain things, and this is one of them. Right, okay, go old school. Let's use another tea towel. Now I can feel that there's nothing there. There we go. Look, perfectly clean. Lovely. And this one, there we are. Perfect. Right, now they've got a fairly nice rise and a lovely colour, so I can take off the baking parchment. Didn't need to line the whole tin, just the bottom. And now they are going to have to get really cold before I can do anything with them. So let's lift them up and hope I don't drop them and show you. Alright, so once they're cooled, I will sandwich them together and decorate, but we'll be back for that shortly. Right then, our cake is fully cooled, and I'll just show you that I haven't got the, see, no lines from the baking tray. Baking tray? It's not a baking tray, is it? It's a cooling tray. Now, a traditional Victoria sponge cake would have but one filling, and that filling would be raspberry jam, raspberry conserve. This is Bon Maman raspberry jam and conserve, and it is absolutely delicious. I buy big jars of it from Costco, so it's a bit cheaper. But you know, this is the best, isn't it? This is the best Victoria sandwich cake. So we're going to have raspberry jam and Chantilly cream. So to make Chantilly cream, I'm going to show you. I'll bring you down. So Chantilly cream, we need to put our cream into a clean, is it clean? Yeah, a clean bowl. Now we could just use the cream as it is and whip it up, but we want, oh excuse me, we want a little sweetness in that cream, don't we? Well, I do. And since I'm going to be eating some, I want it to suit my palate. Sorry, I'm just trying to get a spoon. Talk about not being ready. Keep getting hold of bottle glory spoons, don't I? Right, so we're going to need to sweeten it, and to sweeten it we're going to add some icing sugar. Now icing sugar, as you all know, can clump, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sieve just a couple of spoonfuls of icing sugar, a couple of heaped spoonfuls, let's be honest, of icing sugar into the cream. That will sweeten it up nicely. Just push it through the sieve because there's always little bits that aren't as fine. And of course we're going to use some vanilla, and you should be able to really see the vanilla in this. Right, so a vanilla Chantilly cream is what we are making. I'm going to put the lid on this because if I look it over I might cry. I've got my bowl standing on a damp cloth, and that will help stop the bowl from spinning. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to start it low, because otherwise I'll get a cloud of icing sugar, and we're just going to whisk this up until it peaks and start going up in the temperature, in the speed. Right, so I'm just going to keep whipping this. If you know how to whip cream, I'll get it done and we'll be back. Right, we're done. And as I said, you will be able to see the specks of vanilla in this cream. So let's get our cake. I'm going to just check which one I want for the bottom and which one I want for the top. There's not a lot in it, to be honest, but I'll use this one for the bottom. And we're going to go on with our raspberry jam. And again, you want to be able to taste the raspberry jam, so don't be stingy. Just tease it out to the edges. Right, so that's our raspberry jam. And as I say, if it was just a Victoria sandwich cake, I would just pop the top on now, but you know, we're going for a bit more. And here's where I've got a tip for you. Take my glasses off because they're just getting on my freaking nerves. Now, do you have a piping set? Possibly not. I have, but I've got a bag here, just a plastic bag, and I'm going to pop my cream into this bag. And I'm going to push it all the way down into one corner, taking out as much air as I can. Right, let's get it down into that corner, down there like that. Okay, let me just move my cake and I'll see what we're doing. Move that into the corner. Come on, that's where you want to go. Come on. Right, tie it tight or push it tight, and then we're going to cut. Just cut the end off like so, and we can add our cream, our Chantilly cream, to our cake. And it's moving quite well, isn't it? So it doesn't have to be in a perfect round. Oops, a daisy. Now we're going to get our palette knife, and this is a palette knife, and we're just going to just encourage it to go to the edges. I'm going to have to put some more on. I used a small bag, I should have used a larger one, but we live and learn, don't we? But you know what? Here we go, look. Just dollop it on, blow it. Oops, a daisy. Don't want to be doing that. Right, and we want to be able to see the cream and the jam. So let's make sure we go to the edges. There we are. A bit more there. Right. Can't have a hole in the cream, can we? Right, there's our jam and our cream all sorted. And now we just carefully go on top with, and just lightly push down with our other sponge. And now we can put it onto our, let me get rid of that jam, our cake stand. And get something to go underneath it, something quite substantial, and support it. And there it is, our cake stand. Now, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, but it does need a dusting of icing sugar. So we have got a template. And we have the icing sugar here, don't we? Get the template in the middle, now I'm going to go and get something and show you a trick. This is where you raid your sewing box for some pins. So I'm just going to pin it just to stop it moving whilst I'm adding the icing sugar. Right, and I will just do these 4 on the inside, oops, 2. You could use a doily to do this, or you could just cover it all, but I was thinking, well, it is, you know, we're getting into Christmas, so, and we've had snow here today, can you believe it? Snow already. So okay, now I'm going to get some icing sugar and we are going to just decorate the top of our cake, and hopefully we'll have a snowflake on top of our cake. Oh, honestly, sometimes I am a nightmare, aren't I? Right, let's remove the pins carefully. Be careful to make sure you're not touching the icing sugar that is on the cake. You know, the stuff that's on the paper is fine. And then, very, very carefully, we want to take off our template. Fingers crossed, please. Oh, we've got a little bit of stuff elsewhere, but that's okay, that's okay. And now, this really is overkill, if you like, but it's my cake, so I'm going to overkill it. And we've got some edible silver glitter, and that is going on top of our Victoria sandwich cake. Victoria sponge cake, Victoria sandwich, call it what you want. I'm going to say I hope it's delicious. But that's it. That is made. So, is this the best? It's up to you. We're going to taste it later, but just on looks, let me move the camera and you can see what I'm talking about. Hey. That's it. Just based on looks, doesn't look too bad, doesn't it? Doesn't look none too shabby. On a lovely cake stand, perfect for your mince pies at Christmas too. But you can see it's got a decent rise. Both sponges look about the same. It's filled with raspberry jam and Chantilly cream. I'm going to let the cream set up a bit more before I cut it. But we will be back and we will show you a slice of the cake. Right then, it's time to cut the cake, and yes, I did use up most of the rest of the cream. and I've just decorated the top just a little bit more, but let's now cut it and see. I mean, oops, absolutely no issues cutting that at all. Don't need a huge slice because it is, as you know, full of cream, full of jam, and hopefully full of lushness. Oops, a daisy. Little tip that I didn't tell you, put a blob of cream on the bottom of the top of the cake stand and your cake won't wobble about. Right, look at that. That is our cake, and this little cake server is perfect because look, I just push it off like that. Let's get another slice. So we have one each because I've got a nice cup of tea made. Well, I say it's a nice cup of tea, I'm assuming it's a nice cup of tea. Right, get our cake server, get underneath the cake and just push it off like so. Right, there's our Victoria sandwich. You can see it's got quite a nice crumb and it's not soggy at all. So the usual rules apply. I'm taking Steve's through with this cup of tea, and you know, let's have a little decorum, shall we? We'll use a fork. As I say, I'll take Steve through with his tea and then we'll be back for the taste. Okay then, let's have our first taste of this cake. And it's so light that I don't even know it's on the fork, and it just cut through that beautifully. Right, that jam is superb. Do buy it if you can. See how light and airy that sponge is. Right. I'm sorry, but that is darned good. That is a jolly good cake. Really good. Right, now I used sponge flour. You can use any self-raising flour. I used butter. You can use a baking spread like Stork or Willow. I used caster sugar. You can use ordinary sugar. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I used vanilla bean paste. You can use vanilla extract. Just please don't use essence, please. I use golden yolk eggs. The only thing I'd say with your eggs is try not to use battery eggs unless that's really all you can afford. Because I know we're all living in hard times. You could just do jam. It's absolutely fine to just do jam. This is supposed to be a competition, so I wanted to do the best. So I used cream. Okay, and I made Chantilly cream. You could just use cream. Don't worry about the icing sugar. Don't worry about the vanilla in there. It's your cake. It's your rules. But I've got a couple of things that I want to emphasise about top tips. Grease and then line the bottom of your baking pans. The mixture, the recipe I used is an all-in-one. Perfect, absolutely perfect. You can do it for handheld. I just thought it'd be easier for you to see if I use my big stand mixer. Putting the tea towel across the top of your cooling rack does stop you getting those lines that you will get if you just put them straight on. So you're going to get a better looking cake when you put it together. And lastly, when you've washed up your baking trays, dry them and put them in the oven so that they dry out completely in the residual heat. That way you're not going to get any rust or anything forming. But that's it, I've gone on long enough. Please vote for me, please. I'd really appreciate it. I appreciate you just watching, to be quite honest, but we all like to win, don't we? So, from Penn and her Victoria sandwich, thank you for watching. See you again soon. Bye bye for now.